Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About the POTS Life, your go-to podcast for all things POTS. Whether you're living with POTS or supporting someone who is, this is the place for you.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About the POTS Life. Today, we have another POTS Life graduate with us today. Yes, we have Nicole joining us, and I think it's right, Nicole. Are you close to your 1 year post-grad anniversary?
I am. Yes.
Yeah, when is that?
I think it's in November.
I knew
I'm pretty sure.
I knew it had to be pretty close. Nicole started, so like she said, in November, she'll be a year graduated. But when she came to me, it took a little bit of convincing for her to come to me from her mom. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like how your story came about and how you were diagnosed with POTS, and then how your mom helped you find me.
Okay. So I got COVID in November of 21, and then all my symptoms started in January of 22. And it pretty much was just going to a bunch of different doctors to roll out like different things along the way. And then I started physical therapy at a different place, and it definitely helped a little bit, but I didn't feel like it did too much. And then in February of 23 is when I officially got diagnosed with POTS. And then at that time, I was still going to the other physical therapy office, and then I stopped going there. And then over the summer, my mom saw Kelsey on the news and was like, Nicole, like, we need to go there. And I was like, I don't know, like, I already tried, like, it didn't work, like, whatever. And then I believe I came to you guys in like October.
I remember it was
23?
fall, yeah.
I think it was in the fall. I remember that. And then I started, and here we are.
You had about a year, right? From you said the onset of symptoms in February or in January, and then you had a whole year before you got diagnosed with POTS.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was that year you were going to different specialties to help get a diagnosis, or what did that year look like before diagnosis from the onset of symptoms?
Yeah, I was going to a bunch of different specialists. I was in and out of the ER. I went to rheumatology, endocrinology. I went to the long COVID clinic, and they diagnosed me with long COVID. And then I went to neurology. Mostly all the specialties that you could go to, I went to. And then the first cardiologist I went to told me that it was just anxiety. And I knew that wasn't the case. Like, I knew there was something wrong. Like, you know your body, like, you know when something's off. So then I went and got a second opinion, because I ended up getting COVID again in like December into January of 22 into 23. And then I was like, my heart rate was like so high, and like my PCP was like, I think you need to go get a second opinion. So I went to another cardiologist, and within like a couple minutes of being in the room with him, he diagnosed me right then. He was like, you have POTS.
Wow.
So,
Which is so frustrating in a way. And
Yep.
and tell them like you happened to see him, right? Like your
I just
appointment was
happened.
canceled, and she got reassigned to him, which is
Oh, wow.
crazy. Yeah. And so lucky, because you had in the beginning, right? Like you had changed a lot of COVID symptoms, right? So I think this
Yeah.
is where the mixed bag of long COVID, is it POTS? Is it a mixed bag? Is it, what is
Yeah.
it? New studies are coming out that the one more recent study was up to 80% of long COVID could actually qualify for POTS, which is
Wow.
crazy, right? So I feel like we don't have a ton that are right after COVID. I mean, we definitely see them, but I think there's a misconception that that's like the mass majority of people that, you get COVID and then you have POTS. But tell them a little bit. So there's autoimmune history. So she kind of fits under the umbrella that Britt and I always say, like, she has autoimmune herself, her brother, it's in the family. So tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I also have celiac disease. I got diagnosed when I was 3. And then my brother has Graves' disease. My grandma has MS. So like we all have different like autoimmune within my family. And then like honestly growing up, I noticed like I was a competitive dancer, and like I always got like dizzy quicker than anyone else. I always felt like I was like always out of breath. And I was like, oh, I'm just out of shape. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm at dance like how many hours a week? Like I'm not out of shape. It's like looking back, I probably did have like POTS throughout my childhood and I didn't even realize it. And then I feel like COVID just pulled it out like fully for me to realize, oh, there's actually something wrong. Like it's not normal to stand up and see stars or get dizzy or like it to go black for a second. That's not normal. And then definitely like with the autoimmune within my family, and I have it too. So it's like, I feel like it's just like the mix for the perfect storm. So
I just told somebody yesterday, she came just a friend of mine to see my opinion, and I was like, guess what? Most of the world doesn't stand up and see stars. That's not normal.
yeah.
It doesn't, I thought it was, but it does not have to be like that. So no, 100% in her history. I mean, that all just fits to what we've been saying, and autoimmune and seeing it, and then a virus like COVID bringing that out and everything. Kind of like she said, the perfect storm does that. And you had a lot of things with like smell and taste, right?
Yeah.
Right after. So a lot of complicating factors, like Britt said, probably that year it was hard to determine like what was what.
Is this just still COVID, symptoms still here? Is that why I can't taste things? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I couldn't eat meat. It like literally tasted like sewage. So I like slowly, like even now, like I'm slowly introducing like different like meats back into my diet. Like they still like, or will either make my stomach hurt, or some of them were still like tasting bad. And it's like, what the heck? Like why is meat tasting like sewage?
Such a random,
Yeah, I had somebody else, she ate with a clip on her nose after.
Yeah.
Lindsay's a graduate, and that's what she did because
Really?
like, everything tasted so bad. Yeah, and she would just literally put a clothespin on her nose because like if she smelled it or anything, it would just like change, everything. But it is so crazy. And by the time she came to me in October, I had heard from her mom a couple months prior, but I mean, in Nicole's defense, that when you have gone to other treatment, which this is not just you, it's like many people, right? It's when you've gone to treatment and it didn't help, or maybe it helped a little bit, but not enough, or you felt terrible while you were there, or you felt fine there and came home and felt worse. Like a lot of people are hesitant to even try something else. So I would say even when you came on eval, you were pretty much like, am I going to do this?
Yeah. Like I knew like I didn't want to do medicine. So I was like, it's either this or I'm going to have to like take medicine. So I was like, I need to just try this and see what happens. And like where I was going originally, like they were having me like walk around like the building. They had me like already jogging on the treadmill for minutes.
Wow.
I was like, it was like too much. I mean, it definitely like helped a little bit, but then I felt awful for like the few days after. So like, I don't know how much it was actually helping me, but yeah.
It was probably like band-aiding to, some movement, like we say, is better than no movement, but like probably the
too
wrong
much
kind.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel when, after that experience, Kelsey's like, you're going to move at a turtle pace on a bike?
No, it was
How did you
weird.
feel?
No, it was definitely weird at first. I don't know. Especially like I grew up dancing. So I'm used to like everything being like fast paced and like always doing a million different things, like going super slow on a bike for 8 minutes. I was like, that's not going to do it. Like, what's that going to do?
And even from like a strength perspective, when we started those, because Nicole is so hypermobile. I mean, honestly, if you are on your stomach and you press your hands up, like you should see how she goes into like a straight L. Like it's not, I don't know how people do it for their back, but I would break. But even like her starting with those, like she was coming from, and like you said, Britt, coming out of the long COVID clinic, like you are doing more. So it was really like, hey, we got to go back to go forward. But I also feel like you were at the point like, all right, well, that didn't work. So like you said, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
When in the program, our program here, did you start to think, okay, maybe I'm feeling better, or maybe this is working?
I feel like month 3, I started to be like, wait, is this like actually kind of working? And then month 6 through like 8 was when I was like, wait, I think this is like actually working, because I remember like month 3 was during winter, and I normally am really bad in the winter, and I was like, didn't seem to me as bad as I was the previous winter. And then month 6 was right around finals with school, and I was like, I actually kind of like survived, and I was like, wait, like maybe this is working. So I definitely noticed, I would say months 6 through like 8 were the biggest ones where I was like, wait, no, this is actually like, this is working.
She would know too when it was like the change of seasons, and she'd be like, well, I usually end up in the ER. And it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to the ER. Or it was, you could see like the layers start to be like, come off and be like, okay, she's seeing the difference. And I even feel like it was, I guess, like a year and a half, because it would have been earlier this summer, right around graduation. And she did presentation, graduation, like all these things. And she survived.
Yeah.
And she was shocked that she survived.
Yeah. No, the week of graduation, like I generally was like, I'm going to end up in the ER like that whole like month. And I never went because I had my senior project presentation, then all this stuff with graduation. I was a president of my one honor society. So I was like doing all this stuff with that. And I was like, how am I like doing all of this right now? And the seasons were changing and I never ended up in the ER. So
that's great.
Obviously this worked.
I always say, I'm like, she's just growing up before our eyes. Because even as a graduate, right, for a little while now, I mean, she's diligent about it. And I would say, I think you're a good example of, okay, you had your life back a good bit, right? Like 90%, I would say, when you graduated. But now, even where you are a year ago, like, you continue to see that progress. We're all still aware, especially with the change of season, but I feel like you are living your life more now without it controlling every piece.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've definitely noticed that. Even like you said, like a year ago, I thought I was living my life so much, but take that to now, I'm like, oh, I'm living my life so much more. So like, it'll be crazy to see like how a year from now, like how much more I can be living my life too. But yeah, even with the season changes, like I obviously like this week, I've been feeling it. Like it went from being 80 last week and now it's 60, but it's not nearly as bad as it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So
yeah, and that's great to hear that it's little wins that you're identifying throughout the process that you can look back and be like, okay, I'm doing better this year, even though I had a slight, symptom flare up or whatever it would be during this October slide time, but way different than where I was 3 years ago.
I feel like until you feel that, there's a girl that was here this morning and she just started. And I mean, it was like looking in a mirror from like the beginning. Like she was tired. She had a horrible week. She was crying because, I mean, Nicole, you know what it does like mentally to you when when you're stringing along some good times and then you get these symptoms. I mean, I told her, I was like, listen, I cried Saturday because I don't get symptoms basically the rest of the year. And and again, they're so minimal than what they were, but it's still how frustrating, right? Like when you don't have them, you're like, what is this? Why do my legs ache? Why do I have a headache? Like, or just different things. I could find myself even like taking a real deep breath yesterday. And I'm like, what is this shortness of breath? Like, so it doesn't matter where you are. Like you still have those little hiccups. Nicole can tell you, like she said, it gets better and you will see the progress. You just have to stick through it. But yeah, the girl this morning, I'm like, I wish I had that magic pill, but it like, I can just promise it gets better, but it's okay to cry.
Yeah, like the season changing too. Like I've noticed it so much. Like Saturday too, I was like, why do my legs hurt so bad? I was getting these horrible chest pains. I was like, my legs and chest have not done this in like a while. Like, why is this so bad right now? And like little stuff like that, or like I'll go in like these, like I'll have like months where I'll feel like really good, and then all of a sudden like I'll have a bunch of symptoms, and then it's like I always get scared. Wait, I don't want this to start over. But then like I know it's not going to. I know it'll be fine in a couple of days. But it's always like scary like when your symptoms start up again, because you never want to go back to that place when like you started all of this.
No. That was me Saturday. I 100% know. I know I talk about it every day. I live it every day. But I also think it's people listen to this or come to the office because I'm transparent. It's still scary.
Yeah.
It's still scary. I never want to go back to that point. And like going to bed with those pains, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like it's almost crazy because you're like, did I used to live like this every day?
Yeah. When I'll have this happen, I'm like, how did I go to school every day and then go to work after? Like, how was I doing all the things I was doing? It makes no sense to me. And now I'll have a couple of symptoms. I'm like, how was I literally living like this every single day for years? And no one knew what was going on.
I think it just shows how mentally tough you both are from, persevering through the POTS diagnosis and getting back on your journey for healing. Because, today you're like, oh, these little things, how did I do this before? But you did it. You are
Yeah.
here in a new space and you have a small hiccup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we
Yeah.
get scared of the small
Yeah.
hiccups. But it's like, you're so right. I mean, it is a rough spot. And her mom brought her the first visit. I would say, like, you were down and out about it. You're like, I don't really want to do this. Like, I mean, she was hesitant, which rightfully so. But I mean, she definitely put in the work.
I remember my first visit. I was in the ER that weekend.
Yes.
And then I came to you and I was like, I don't know why this is so bad. And like, it was, again, the seasons were changing because it was in the fall. And like, I mean, knock on some wood, I haven't been that bad since that fall. So,
Yes.
I mean, yes, I still have like fall and spring are definitely my biggest triggers. I'm definitely worse. Like, I'm worse in the winter. Summer's like my best months. So like now, like this time of year, it always sucks because I know like I'm not going to feel as great, but I'm still so much better than I was last winter or the winter before that or like whatnot. But yeah.
So you went through the whole program, the POTS Life program, and you signed up as a graduate after that.
Yes.
So you love us. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the graduate program. We haven't talked about that much on here.
Yeah. Right.
I really like the graduate program because it holds me like accountable to make sure that I'm still doing it, because that's like my biggest thing. I feel like you do this for a year, you can't just stop doing it. Like it's not going to help. Like you're just going to like backtrack. So I felt like doing the graduate program, still coming in once a week, would make me like hold myself accountable to keep doing it. So yeah, I bike 3 times a week. So I try to keep up with that. Yes, I still do stuff and I'm still making sure I bike at least 3 times a week to get myself through. But yeah, I think like for me at least, biking is like the biggest thing. I know if I don't bike, then it'll be bad. So I've been like biking and then going on little walks are like the 2 things that I've been doing that have helped me now. But yeah.
And you can tell them a little bit about your transition to the treadmill, because I think you're a good example of, you know, like what that felt like when you were in the program, like how your legs did feel a little gumby or how you were a little bit dizzy, but also how you got used to it and how it passed.
Yeah, when I first transitioned to the treadmill, when I would get off, I was like super dizzy. Or when I'd be walking on it, like my legs sometimes, like when I first started, they felt like jello. And then after a couple weeks, that went away. And then the dizziness slowly started to like subside. Like it was only when I got off. Like I was never, besides like the first like 2 or 3 times, it was every time I got off the treadmill, I got dizzy. If I just sat for 5 minutes after, then I was fine. I never felt like sick later on in the day. Like nothing bad ever happened. I just was getting like a little bit dizzy after the treadmill. But then after a month went by and I kept doing the treadmill, that like subsided and it was fine.
And now she can, like she said, she can go out and do walks outside and keep her heart in the heart rate range and, you know, just keep that consistency. But also it just becomes like a way of life versus like doing it to have to survive. Like, you know, in the beginning, it's so critical for survival of feeling better. And now it's more just like a habit or
a lifestyle change.
Yeah, lifestyle change. I'm like, what is that word?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a lifestyle change. I make sure, like, especially if I know I'm like going out or like doing something later. I went to a few concerts this summer, or like if I'm going out with my friends at night, I'm like, I need to make sure I ride the bike today, because then that'll get me through the night. Because if I don't, then it's going to be bad, which is like so crazy to think. I have to ride a bike for 45 minutes so I can go out with my friends, but no one else has to do that.
It is. That's the frustrating part, right?
Yeah.
Also tell them a little bit about, you were not a big water drinker, like at all.
Oh, yeah. No, it was really bad. Like I was lucky if I finished like, I literally had a 20-ounce hydro flask, and it would be lucky if I like drank that whole thing during the day. But now, I mean, okay, I still am not drinking as much as I probably should be, but it's much better. I drink 3 to 4 Awalas a day. So what's that? They're like, what, 24 ounces?
I don't know, what size are they? Like this one?
She drinks electrolytes too now.
Oh, yes.
And electrolytes, yeah.
Yes, I do that. So I'll have like 3 of those that are water, and then I'll drink at least 1 electrolyte a day. And then sometimes I'll drink 2 a day.
When
just
she
depending.
started, she was like, well, I have a little Gatorade a day. I was like,
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
It's 180 milligrams. That's not going to cut
Yeah.
it.
For the normal person, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, to make sure you have
like
it. Yeah.
10 of those.
Yeah, no, I was drinking like 1 Gatorade a day, like, and it was like the mini one.
The mini, yeah. It's literally 180 milligrams. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
we're
it was-
going to need more.
Yeah, no, it was bad. I mean, I definitely am so much better So yeah, I drink at least one electrolyte. Like I drink the Nun tablet. So at least one of those a day, sometimes two. And then I try to drink like 2 to 3 Awalas a day. So I'm probably getting around like 100, which is much better.
Which is good. Yeah.
Oh, she's come a lot. I mean, literally 0 intake. I'm like,
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was so bad.
This is a big piece of that ingredient for the recipe to feel better. Yeah. So I feel like that has come a long way. And you were never down and out about biking, but I feel like everybody goes through their frustrations, right? Exactly what you said, that you have to do this before other people, for other people just
like so I can, No, that was definitely like the hardest thing, like just like being able to like live, like knowing that I have to ride this bike so I can go like throughout my day, or I need to ride the bike today because I'm not going to have, or like in the morning so I'm not going to have time later when I get home, or like, I want to go out and do this with my friends. Well, I need to ride the bike this morning, but none of them are thinking, I need to ride the bike before we like go out tonight, or I need to ride a bike before we hang out later, like whatever. So that is definitely, it was like frustrating, but I always did it because I knew it would help me in the end.
And you were fortunate that you are close to us and you came into the office for some of your treatments, and you kind of built a nice support system here with and you met some other individuals that have POTS, which can relate to that feeling of, I got to prioritize my biking or I'm not going to make it to this event later today.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that was like helped a lot, like meeting other people that have POTS and like live it too. And they understand like that I'm not crazy when I say like certain things. They're like, oh yeah, no, that happens to me too. Or, oh, do you have this or whatever? And coming here is like, we're not crazy. When if I tell this to like some of my other friends, I'll be like, what are you talking about?
Like the one time you had, they weren't seizures, but like the tremors.
Oh,
in
yes.
a friend's house, and they were like, what is happening?
I have these like, I'll get these like tremor flares where like I just lay and shake for a while. And they were really, really bad.
Yeah. Is what it is.
They were really bad like when I first got sick and like no one knew what was going on because they thought I had epilepsy. I don't have epilepsy, but they like were like, oh, maybe you're having seizure. I'm not. Like it was literally just having these tremors. I don't have them as much now, thankfully, but if I like don't drink enough salt in the day. So like I went to this concert with my friends, and like that, like I got home that night and I was like having tremors. I was like, well, you kind of did that to yourself, but also I was going to go to the concert anyways. So like,
but see, the Nicole talking now will go to the concerts, will do the things. Well, like that was not even a thought, rightfully so. It was not even a thought in the beginning. And now she'll go to the concert, or even you staying at the camper, like at camp for you, like she was like, well, if I go there, I won't sleep. And then it would like trigger in these flares. And I just feel like even that part of like now you are just living.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like before, like there were so many different like things I didn't do, or like I never even thought like I'd be able to do again. Like, and it was like literally like the most littlest things. And now that they're not even a thought of like not doing them.
Yeah.
Like people will be like, oh, I want to do this. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Like, why wouldn't I go?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a great transition and pivot to like getting your life back, right? You're no longer questioning, can I make it through a concert? Do I need to have a safety net, a plan to leave early or, prepare? But you might have to do a little bit of biking ahead of time or, be on your electrolytes, but you're doing it. You're going out there. You're doing all the stuff that you love to do.
Yes.
If you could give some advice to someone similar to you that just recently diagnosed or had a bad experience, what would you say to them about the POTS Life program?
I would definitely say trust the process because it definitely does work. It's not going to work overnight. You definitely have to keep up with it and keep doing it. And yeah, I definitely would say trust the process because, if I would have only done this for like 2 weeks, like you're not going to see a difference. You have to do it for those months. And then once you're done, you have to keep doing it so you don't backtrack. So definitely trusting the process.
Good.
1,000%. And it's just like weathering the storm and the bumps along the way. But also, hopefully, these stories that we share give you hope that like the bumps are normal. And that's what I said to the girl this morning. Like I don't have like earth-shattering advice, but I can just tell you it gets better, and sometimes just hearing that from others, like, okay, this is terrible in the beginning, and it may be bumpy in this change of season. It may be bumpy during the months, but like, look where you can end up.
Yeah. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to keep going.
Yes.
Yeah. You just can't stop. You got to keep pushing through. the journey. So if you could describe your life now after you're almost a 2-year POTS Life graduate,
Yes.
one word to describe your life now, what would that be?
Oh, I don't know.
Hydrated?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like a good word for you would be like limitless in a way. Because I feel like when you first came, everything, rightfully so, all of us are limited so much.
Yeah.
But I feel like since you started and even postgraduate, like I've just seen you flourish into doing so many things or being like exactly what you said, like, why wouldn't I try?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not holding you back like it was.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would definitely agree because before there were so many things like I would question and be like, do you think this is a good idea if I do this? And now I'm just like, well, I'm going to do it anyways. And if I end up in a flare-up, I end up in a flare-up, whatever, but I'm going to do it anyways.
She used to come in and be like, okay, my mom wants me to ask you, what do you think about this? And then I would say or whatever. And then exactly what she just said, she'd be like, well, so if I do this, and I'd be like, well, I think you should do it. And she'd be like, well, good, because I was thinking I was going to do it anyways. Like, but she wouldn't have done that. You know, you just get that confidence to start to live your life again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. She is a different person.
Definitely.
And when she came in and now she's I just feel like she's living.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks so much for your time today. We love talking with you. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us. We're on YouTube as well. You could see this recorded and stay tuned for our next episode.
Yeah, make sure you go on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel and get alerted when new episodes drop. And then you can either listen through all the platforms or find us there. So we'll see you next time. Bye.